I was part of the birthday parade, so special shout out to Laureen. I hope that you were enjoyed and enthused by our parade in front of your house. I actually brought my dog Sparky and everybody, so he could say hello to Laureen. She's a dog lover like I am. So it was actually really pretty cool that, just got to get myself on Facebook here. It was actually pretty cool that we all got to see each other, even though it was from our cars and on the lawn. So that kind of energized me. So as I was saying, I was feeling kind of depressed, and I said, you know, I really don't want to go out. It's kind of windy and rainy today where I am. But then I took a shot, and I said, you know what? It'll cheer me up. It'll cheer Lorene up. Let me go do it. So the moral of the story is, anytime you're feeling really down with this whole COVID, reclusive kind of energy, try and get out and help somebody else, or get out and do something, because I think you'll really find that it's going to make your day. Make your day. My allergies have been absolutely unbelievable since the last sunny day we had. I think it was 2 days ago. I actually was sitting out in the yard, and it probably was not the best thing for me to do. I'm going to share our post here. As soon as I find myself, I know I'm online. So tonight we're going to do the astrology for May. You can see all this stuff that I do for you all and myself, and try, and this is the chart for the current moment. Going to decipher that with you guys. There's some really amazing energy going on out there. So let me share this post, if I can. For some reason it's not letting me share this. Here we are. Turn my thing down. Ready then? Whoops. Oh, it takes so much time during the show now to do all this stuff. And I really... Okay, did that. There we go. It's on there. Okay, guys, save it to share it to a few other places. Bear with me. I'll be with you guys in a minute. I'm getting good at this stuff, right? Multitasking, which is something I try never to do. Okay, I think it's shared there. Share to a group. No, wait, I don't want to share it to a group. I want to share it to a page. How do you like my sound effects? Pretty good, huh? I always do whenever I am. Hi, Janine. Hi, Vito. For some reason, it's not letting me, so I'll just share it to here. Okay. Okay, so I started a watch party, whatever that is, so I hope you all tune it in. So I'm going to see the comments. I got Vito out here. I've got Kay. Hi, Kay. Colleen, Marianne. Going to just leave this here so that I can see everybody. So just make your comments as we go. I'm going to prop my phone up here so I can see the comments. Lisa joined us. So we're going to do the astrology of May. Look, just for a little added ambiance, I have my telescope behind me. This is what I usually look at the moon and the stars with. It's actually one of the most beautiful things in my life is to be able to go out in the yard on a beautiful clear night, especially in the summer, and have a bonfire, you know, a fire in the chimney area, and look at the moon and the stars. So I want to talk a little bit about today, like I started to do, and then I had to do all this techie stuff. So I wish I had an intern for my techie stuff. So today was a very heavy energy. I don't know if you guys all felt it, but I felt it very much today. I know that was because of some transits that are happening, and of course our wonderful Saturn and Pluto that are dancing around each other. Saturn is now in Aquarius. Didn't bring water over here. I might have to leave and get my water. I've been talking all day. So May is a month that actually is very fitting for the energy that we have right now, because it is a month where we have a lot of planets going retrograde, and that's going to make us want to stay in, want to be a little bit less, you know, social, wanting us to really kind of do the reevaluation in our lives that we've all been doing. I have to get my water. Just stay right there, otherwise I won't be able to talk. See, Kathy Lee Gifford and Hoda and Kelly, they all have a handler that does all this stuff for them. But unlike them, I am a grassroots operation. I have to go get my own cups and my own everything. So, so bear with me. So we have a lot of retrogrades going on for May. And what I always feel like is retrogrades are really, if you think of the word retro, there are times when we reevaluate, reprioritize, revisit, reminisce even. And so a lot of times with retrograde and that we have 4 or 5 planets actually that are going to be in retrograde in May at any given time. So that's a lot of energy to go back and really think about what we want to do with our lives and kind of reevaluate where we've been. This month has so many retrogrades, and one of them, the main one, is Venus, which is planet of love, which we'll get into in a little bit. But before we do that, I just want to talk a little bit about how the nodes of the moon are moving. And not a lot of astrologers follow the nodes, but I certainly do. You like my cup? It says, "Good morning, sunshine." It's the only good morning I get, so I have to get it out of my coffee cup. Even though I never drink anything caffeine. So Venus is going retrograde this month, and that's going to bring a lot of things in. But first I want to talk about the nodes of the moon. Because most astrologers don't really talk too much about the nodes. You might see 1 or 2 of them doing that. You'll read a lot of stuff about Venus going retrograde this month, but I want to set that up for us a little bit, okay? So the nodes of the moon change every 18 months into a different sign. You have a south node and a north node. In astrology, sometimes we refer to the moon's nodes as the dragon tail and the dragon head, the south node and the north node respectively. So south node, being the dragon's tail, is the place in our life where we bring in energy from a past life, or we bring in karma with us from a past life. The south node is south, it's past, it's been done. It's the things that we're really comfortable doing and we gravitate towards, because we all love our nice warm blankie on the couch, right? Even though we know we're probably not supposed to be spending a lot of time doing that, it's comfortable and we have to do it. So that's the south node. The south node is the things, the relationships, the professions, the perceptions that we have that are probably not good for us, but feel good when we do them. The north node is like the compass pointing to due north. It is where I can pinpoint, when I look at your chart to the north node, exactly where your life is supposed to go, what your path actually is, all roads leading to the wizard, the north node, the dragon's head. So where we actually have challenges to overcome in our life is oftentimes represented by that south node. It's the things that we bring in that we need to overcome a little bit, and we need to, the light was just too bright for me, and we need to master. And so a lot of times our lessons are in our south node. It is, the wounded, wounds that we don't heal. It is the patterns that we keep going through and going through. The north node, of course, is what we should aspire to be after we break those patterns from the south node. So when the nodes of the moon change, and they do that every 18 months, what you find is the patterns take on a different area of your life, and the patterns of what you aspire to and what you're bringing in and trying to overcome will have a different personality. So we're leaving a time where the north and south node were in Cancer, Capricorn, and the south node being in Capricorn with Pluto and Saturn and all that stuff we got in there, and the north node being in Cancer. So we have Earth, Capricorn, Water, Cancer. That's the axis that we've been on for the last 18 months. Usually what that does, my lights just went out, so I guess Spirit didn't want me to have them. So usually what that does is it makes us, Cancer, Capricorn axis is all about security. It's about where we want to be secure in our life as far as our home and our creature comforts, and that's the Cancer energy, and the security of where we want to be in the outer world and our structures and our professions and our authorities. That's the Capricorn. So you see how I'm terribly sorry. I think it's an Amazon package. I have a very good watchdog. So, Sparky, come here. Come here, Sparks. You want to meet the people? Guess not. Okay, so where was I? Can you tell that the nodes are going into Gemini? Because Gemini is all over the place. So now the nodes who've been in Earth and they've been in water, which is emotion and stability, now those nodes are going to shift around a little bit and they're going to go into Sagittarius and Gemini. Completely different energy. This happens on, I believe, the 4th of the month. So you're going to find that the energy is going to change, and you are definitely going to feel this. If you are at all sensitive to energy or at all sensitive to world energy or the shifts in energy in the world, you are going to feel this nodes of the moon change. So when the nodes of the moon change, a lot of times what we find is different areas of our life that were aspected will now calm down and new things will start to happen. So I want to just say a little bit about that Cancer, about that Gemini Sagittarius. It's so hard to do a podcast without my engineer, Sally. So I don't know why that happens with the lights, but it does. There's been a lot of strange goings on in this house lately. The tripod just totally fell. Sally, do you see how you're worth every penny? Man. Somebody should really put this show on bloopers. Oh, forget the lights. You're going to have a dark me, okay? So I'll have to lighten it up when I edit. So, so when the nodes shift to Sagittarius Gemini, what's going to happen is we're going to feel a little bit lighter in some ways because we don't have that earth water energy. Now the energy is fire and air. And so Sagittarius has a lot to do with flight. Sagittarius, if you notice, a lot of times people with a Sagittarius rising or a Sagittarius sun will really love travel, and Sagittarius is a sign of higher learning and travel. It's also a sign that wants us to delve into our higher mind. It wants us to really question our beliefs. It's all about the truth. It wants us to find the truth in our life, find where we don't allow the truth in, etc. And so wherever Sagittarius is in your chart, try to figure out, if you can go on astro.com or cafeastrology.com, and if you get your personal chart, you can actually look and see what house Sagittarius falls in. And that would be the house that's probably going to be affected in the sense of freedom. You're going to want a lot more freedom in your life with this transit. And it's also going to make you a little bit contemplative about how you can be more philosophical about that area of your life. The North Node going into Gemini is also about travel, but it's about more localized travel. I don't think as many people are going to be traveling in the next 18 months as would probably have been planned, not just because of COVID, but because of the astrology. You know, Sagittarius is travel, Gemini short-term travel. So with the North Node pointing to the Gemini direction, you're going to see more emphasis on like staycations, which obviously we have to do anyway. But you're also going to see more emphasis on like the family visits, not so much, oh, I want to go, to Japan, or I want to go, cross country. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about the nodes, because when the nodes shift, it really changes the personality of the energy in the world. It changes the personality in your personal life, and it also changes what goes on in the collective. The fact that we have fire and air and the nodes going into those type of signs, Sagittarius and Gemini, that's huge, because it's going to lighten up some of that heavy earth and water energy that we've been dealing with for a long time now. If you are a Sagittarius or a Sagittarius rising, this will affect you a lot. If you're a Sagittarius moon or a Gemini moon or a Gemini rising, it will really affect you, or a Gemini sun. So those are the places where you really want to look in your chart and see what houses those fall in. If it's your rising, it's going to be your first house. So that ascendant is going to really be hit by either the north or south node. And if you'd like more information about that and how it affects you personally, you can always book a reading online and PM me, or go on zenhuda.com. So now let's get to the planetary astrology of the month. We've got a lot of RXs, which is retrogrades, as I said before. And planet RXs, planet retrogrades really have a reason, and they get a bad reputation. Everyone thinks when a planet goes into retrograde, it stops and it stands still. It doesn't. What it means is it's just moving slower. And so as a result of that, it seems like it's going in reverse. Kind of like if you pull in a parking space and the car next to you is going backwards for a minute, you feel like you're going backwards. It's a retrograde motion. So when we see that in the planets, it has a reason and a purpose. And the reason and the purpose for it is the energy of that planet, whatever it is, and I'm going to go through each retrograde tonight, wants us to be more attentive to its energy. When something goes retrograde, like Mercury, for instance, which is not going retrograde right now, but for instance, everyone's familiar with that retrograde. Mercury is our higher is our minds, it's technology, it's communication. So it gets a bad rep that when it goes retrograde, communication stands still and we have glitches. Yes, we do, but the reason that happens is because we're not paying attention to the energy. So Mercury will slow down and for us to say, hey, I'm over here. We want you to look at this aspect. We want you to look at this energy so you can really pay more attention to it and do it better. So with each planet and with each personality of the planet, we get a retrograde motion and the planet kind of tapping us on the shoulder, pushing us on the back, saying, hey, we need you to really pay attention to us. We need you to pay attention to this energy because it's important in your life. And that's when the planets really speak to us. And what I can tell you is that every planet and every aspect, sorry, my allergies, every planet and every aspect has a spiritual lesson. And that's why I study astrology. It has taught me so much about my own path, about why I do things the way that I do. I mean, there's a reason why you were born at exactly a certain minute with the planets in a certain position. It's your roadmap. So again, if you want a reading, call me. So the first planet that's going to go retrograde this month, and there's quite a few, but the first planet, I'm going to go back in my book a little bit. First planet is Saturn. And Pluto already is retrograde, by the way. Pluto went retrograde April 25th. And when Pluto goes retrograde, Pluto is a planet of deep, heavy transformation. Pluto is the planet of transfiguration. You know, everyone always says very cliche, Pluto is something has to die to be reborn. And so Pluto doesn't destroy things to take things away from us. It destroys things to make room for that which no longer serves us, moving away to bring something good in. You know, if I move this beautiful crystal, right? If I move this beautiful crystal, there's a space left on the table. What are we going to put in that space? It's a beautiful opportunity to write a story, to write our life, to create something. If I put the crystal back here, well then I can't utilize that space. So if this crystal is no longer serving me, Pluto might come and move it away so that I have a beautiful blank space to write my story on. Sometimes it's painful to have the crystal be moved away, but in the long run you're grateful for it because whatever you've written in its space is so much better for you and more beautiful. So that's how we find beauty in repulsive things. That's how we find that beautiful light at the end of the tunnel, and that's Pluto. So don't worry about Pluto. Don't get upset or nervous when you're having a Pluto transit. Pluto's retrograde right now so that we go into that energy and we allow transformation in our life and we allow surrender. And through that, when we let go, we open, we can see the vision of where we're supposed to go without whatever that thing was that we were clinging to obstructing our beautiful view. So don't fear Pluto. It's got a bad reputation. And when it goes retrograde, it just wants us to go deeper. So it's a great time to start a meditative practice because you will get some very deep messages with Pluto in retrograde. And this whole month, this whole year really has been a lot about, you know, all this prediction because the year was set off with the Pluto-Saturn conjunction in January, which was huge. We're going to feel that all year. But it was some very heavy themes of deep personal transformation. And boy, none of us could have predicted this, right? So may encourage us to go inward, to reconnect, to reevaluate, to reward ourselves for doing that, right? Don't forget to do that. So Saturn goes retrograde May 11th. Pluto's already retrograde. So now we have those two planets that have been doing a dance, meeting each other and going away, and meeting each other and going away, are now both retrograde. So they're going to actually meet in the sky once more before the end of the year. Saturn just went into Aquarius, and it's in the beginning stages. And now when it goes retrograde and slows down, it's going to hang out in that first part of Aquarius and back into Capricorn. When Saturn goes into Aquarius, which it did last month in April, you probably felt a different energy in your life because, again, it went from an earth sign, Capricorn, to air. It freshened things up. It lightened things up. And that was April 4th. So we have Pluto retrograde, we've got Saturn retrograde, and then Jupiter goes retrograde on May 14th, just a couple of days after Saturn. And Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter have been doing this dance in the sky. Jupiter's still in Capricorn. Jupiter and Pluto are now in a conjunction, dancing back and forth. Saturn moved into Aquarius. This is setting the stage for the biggest event of 2020, one of the biggest events anyway, the end of the year when we have a Jupiter and Saturn conjunction in Aquarius. That is going to completely change all the energy. And I'll get to that at the end of the broadcast. But If we can just hold on until December with some bumps and ups and downs, we're going to approach 2021 knowing a lot more about ourselves, and the energy really begins this month in May. So we've got Pluto going retrograde, the sign that really wants us to be deeply introspective and really allow the transformations in our life, allow those divine messages to come in. Then we've got Saturn going retrograde. Saturn going retrograde wants us to really listen to what Pluto's saying so that we can implement it into action. Saturn likes to be boundary. It likes to put up a wall. It likes to restrict and condense. Hello, pandemic. And so when Saturn does that with the energy, it's because it wants us to slow down and reevaluate the structures we've put in place. The whole reason why all of this is happening in the world during a Pluto-Saturn dance in the sky is because it wants us all as a collective to reevaluate the structures we have in our life, to reevaluate the structures that we've gone to tell us the truth, the structures that we've gone to for stability. The false idolism and the false belief systems will all cave in. We're all hankering for the truth right now. We want to know everything that's real, everything that's true. And unfortunately, the answer is no one knows. No one knows when we're going to reopen. No one knows how this virus got started. No one knows who's telling the truth and isn't. Saturn wants us to sit in the uncertainty so it can transform us. Pluto. So now we have Saturn retrograde, Pluto retrograde, then Venus goes retrograde after Jupiter goes retrograde. Venus goes retrograde on the 13th, so it's hanging in there around the same time as Jupiter goes retrograde on the 14th. So this Venus retrograde is a huge one. As a matter of fact, it's huge. I won't go into all the aspects because if I tried to tell you every single thing in this chart, you'd all flip off the broadcast and never listen. But I'm going to tell you the big, broad version. Venus in retrograde in Gemini has so many aspects to Uranus, Saturn, Mercury, that this is really unbelievable energy. Usually when Venus goes retrograde, it's about around a month. Venus goes retrograde May 13th and stays retrograde till July. So this is huge energy. Then this is what it's going to do. Depending on where Gemini is in your chart, if it's in your 7th house of relationships, fasten your seatbelt, but everything will work out okay. But wherever Venus in Gemini is in your chart, it's going to cause changes. It's going to definitely have a big impact on your life. This is a very big Venus retrograde. So let's first look at the planet of Venus. What does it do? Remember what we said in the beginning. Those retrogrades are put in place by the universe so that we really can go deeply into the planet energy. So what's the energy? The energy of Venus is the goddess of love, right? Venus. It's the things we love and value, not just romantically. If it's happening in your career house, it's the things you love about your work. It's the thing that you really would want to do as a vocation. Venus is the things we value inside of our life, the things that are really important are our core principles. And Venus is also the way we love a certain color, a certain flower, a certain person. Wherever Venus is in your chart, it indicates the type of way you love in the world. So Venus in Gemini is about communication. Venus in Gemini is also scattered. It can be very distracted. Sometimes it's very hard for people with a lot of Gemini energy in their chart to be loyal because their loyalties are always divided. They don't know which way to go. So when we have a beautiful planet like Venus, which is our love and value in that kind of an energetic sign of Gemini, which is air, we're going to love more in our heads. We're going to be thinking about things more intellectually. However, one of the aspects that Venus in retrograde is making is a square to Neptune. Neptune is fog. Neptune is that beautiful, imaginative energy of wanting to be otherworldly. It's an energy of fantasy. It's an energy also of deception. So when Venus in Gemini is retrograding and is squaring, which means a conversation of tension with a planet like Neptune, what's going to happen is our communications are going to be a little cloudy. Now remember I was just talking about everyone wants to know the truth? Well, it may be a while until we actually know the truth about anything, even what we truly believe in, and where the ball actually lands. Because when Venus is retrograde in Gemini, and Neptune is influencing it, usually it puts on the rose-colored glasses. It can be an energy of we want to love something in a way that is impossible. We have a fantasy of the way we think something should be, and it can never happen. Venus retrograde in Gemini squaring Neptune can also be deception. It can be deception deliberately, and it can also be deception because we want to please something. Venus is a planet of pleasure. It can be thinking that something is a certain way, only to find out it's completely different after the planet goes direct again. So be really careful and really discerning of the energy between May 13th and July, because you're going to see that as this comes around and Venus slows down, it's also a time where sometimes if you're in a long-term relationship, things can be a little stagnated. I will tell you, during a Venus retrograde, it's not uncommon for relationships to pull apart. It's just the energy. And the reason why it's happening is, just like I said in the beginning of the broadcast, so that you can bring something better into that space. So my best advice in really weathering this beautiful Venus retrograde that we have, and it's such a long one, is don't hold on tight. Let the energy go. Don't be inclined to, if something isn't working, keep trying and trying and trying and trying. Give it a rest for a little while. Chances are after the retrograde it may come back. But use the energy of Saturn and Pluto to show you where the boundary is, Saturn, and Pluto to show you where you need to change, where you need to transform to make something better. And then, of course, Jupiter being retrograde is a planet where expansion slows down. So if I put all of this together, you've got Pluto wants us to sit home and transform and think about ourselves and meditate. Saturn is slowing down so that it can show us where our boundaries are. Venus, the planet of love, is slowing down so that we really can reevaluate what's important and what we truly value in our life. And then we've got Jupiter slowing down, putting the brakes on the expansion. So that to me means for the most of May, most of us are probably in a holding pattern. We're probably going to be spending more time in restriction. It'll loosen up a little bit very slowly, but I don't see the gates opening for us in May so much. It's just not the energy of the planets. And I actually think that's a good thing, because I think that we are now getting used to doing the things that we're supposed to be doing in this time. It's almost as though now we want a little bit of time to complete some of the tasks we started, and we're finally getting it. We're finally getting how to utilize this energy of introspection, how to start working on our projects. May is a month where we really, really need to look back on what we've learned so far in 2020, and then establish projects and goals for where we really want to go the last half of the year. The gate's going to open in June. And when the gate opens, be productive, have your plan in place, know exactly what you want to do, the changes you want to make in your life, and hit the ground running. May is our planning month for that. And the universe has gifted us with this beautiful slowed up energy of introspection and boundary to really allow us the time to do it. So that's a great thing. The other planet change that we have that's really drastic is Mars goes into Pisces May 13th. So right around from May 11th to May 15th, we've got a lot of changes. There's also a full moon just before that, which I'll talk about in a minute. But the middle of the month, you're going to feel a huge energy shift. And it's funny because I'm in New York, and in New York, it's May 15th that we're supposed to have a little bit of an end to some of this. So it's interesting that the energy is going to change, but I would not look for the gates to be open until June, really, in any progressive way. So Mars goes into Pisces, and Mars is the planet of our fire. It's our get up and go. Mars is a warlike planet. It's aggression. It's what makes us cranky sometimes. But Mars on the higher octave is assertion. You get angry about something, and then you go out and you do it, right? So Mars is really our get up and go. When Mars slows down, it becomes more compassionate and less of a warrior, which to me sits perfectly with these other retrogrades and the energy of the month. This is really a time when I would start meditating. I would even start, if you're not a meditator and you're more living in the three-dimensional world, more intellectual, get a couple of really inspiring books that have something to do with the path you want to be on or the goals you want to set, and use someone to inspire you. Because I think if we can lay the foundation with our inner work this month, then when we come out of the gate in June, we're just going to be that much more ready, willing, and able to really get on with what we need to do. So now I want to talk a little bit about the full moon. This full moon, again, like I said, really intense energy for May. Good energy, bad energy. There is no good or bad. It's how you utilize it and make it the best for you. So we have the full moon coming in on May 7th. And that's a full moon in Scorpio, which is always pretty intense full moon. But this one is actually opposite Mercury and square Mars. I know that's Chinese to most of you, but in a nutshell, what it means is, first of all, when the moon is in Scorpio, it's in its fall, it's in its detriment. It doesn't really like to be in Scorpio. It's a little bit intense for the moon. But this full moon on the 7th is going to test us in some way for the month of May. It's actually going to, almost like the full moon in Scorpio is going to hand you your test, and then the rest of the month you're going to be filling it in the blanks. And then when June comes, the universe will grade you on it. I don't know how to make any other example. The full moon in Scorpio is going to bring to the surface something that you need to be tested with, that is something you need to improve in your life. This is not drama. The full moon is going to want a lot of people to go into drama. It's going to make them be impelled and compelled to do that. But what it really wants from us is simplicity. So if you feel yourself going into the drama around the full moon, close the front door, go home, just stay in your own space and do a full moon ritual. Because the full moon in Scorpio is really going to want to bring a lot of stuff up for a lot of people. And if they don't know how to process that, it's going to make them dramatic, you know, and a little bit intense. This is because we also, the opposite of Scorpio is that Scorpio-Taurus axis. This is energy that's going to bring up death, decay, impermanence, while we're trying to live in a world that's peaceful. And I think that we're trying to close our doors on it. We're trying to, you know, turn off all the media, which I always say to do. But I think when the full moon in Scorpio comes, that it's going to be in our face a little more, because we have to deal with it. We can't entirely live in a bubble. Deal with it in bites we can chew. But unfortunately, I don't want to be negative, but because it's not a negative. The reason why the death and decay is happening around us is so that we understand how to heal it. You know, look at the earth right now when it took a pause and we don't have as much flight and we don't have as much pollution. The rivers are healing. The air is healing. The earth is healing because it looked at what it was. It looked at the death, at the decay, at what we were doing to it. And it took an action so that it would stop. And that's what we have to do. We have to look at where is our life decaying? Where are we falling short? Where is the universe bringing something in that it's making it die so that we expand ourselves, so that we change something, so that we do something better? So to me, that's not really negative or pessimistic. I think that's pretty darn positive, that the universe is giving us an energy that enables us to go in a valley so we can climb the mountain, right? That's absolutely Scorpio, the phoenix rising from the ashes. So when that full moon happens, I would do this. This is the best advice I can give you for working in the energy. It's going to be intense. Don't get into drama. If you have to just, you know, be at home quiet, do a meditation, a full moon ritual. If you're going to watch media, really choose what you want to watch. Like I watch about a half hour a day so that I know, like, if anything catastrophic is happening. But just notice where the changes are happening in your life. Notice where they're happening in the outside world and what's being brought into you. Because we have a lot of glimpses this month of the energy that's going to come in towards the end of the year and then in 2021. And so when that happens, we'll be more prepared if we're watching what's going on now. This energy around that middle of the month also, Mercury is squaring Mars, so that's very analytical energy. It's very technical stuff can frustrate us. That maybe, you know, I say this often, I'm just going to turn that light back on. I say this often that we need to pick up the phone and call people more. We need to pick up the phone and call people more. We don't do that. We rely on messaging and texting and all kinds of things like that. And I think that we really need to at least be in a place where we have the ability to see someone's face with FaceTime or Zoom or Messenger video or something. See my face? Because I think that we need that human connection. And so during that Pluto Scorpio moon, if you're going to do any kind of connection, I would try to do it face to face, even if that's technical, and I would try and do it one-on-one. It's not the time to be in drama, parties, that kind of stuff. Definitely just do everything that you want to do kind of on your own or with maybe one special person. So I'm going to go to comments, and then there was something else I wanted to mention. I'm going to go through each sign and how the energy is going to kind of work for you this month, just really briefly. I don't know what time it is. I got to watch my time. So let me go back into the comments. See if you have any questions, just throw them out. Okay. It's all a big question mark. Yeah, Linda. And I think what happens is we get really frustrated because we want to know. And if you look at all of the goings on the news feeds, which I try to stay off the news feeds so much, and sometimes I don't, I don't want anyone to be offended if I don't respond to something. I try and really stay off those news feeds. But if you look at the energy on the news feeds and what people are talking about and arguing over, it's all because they all think they know the truth, or they want to know the truth, or they think they're right, or they want to know who's right. It's all this might is right kind of energy, and that's absolutely the wrong way to go now. The universe wants us to go in the opposite direction, where we have compassion and unity for everyone. And we're going to feel a lot of compassion. Unfortunately, sometimes that compassion can be a little bit heavy because, that's part of life. If you don't go in the valley, how do you know what a mountain is, Aaron, May 21st is your birthday, the big 3-0. Happy birthday, Aaron. We're going to give you a virtual birthday parade. So you are a Gemini. You're actually cuspy, a little cuspy there. So you're going to have a lot of changes in your life this year, but I have the feeling they're going to be positive because I know you a little bit through, Aaron and I have never met. We just know each other through media. And I feel like you've made so much progress that, you're somebody who works on your life all the time, very Aryan quality actually. And so I think that you're going to have good changes because you've done your homework kind of thing, Just looking at the comments, and if you have any questions about the astrology, throw them out. If I can answer, I absolutely will. Okay, we got a lot of people. Hi, Cindy, Marianne, Michael, Joanne. Hi, babe. Peter Marks is a fabulous astrologer also, and medium like I am. So he's actually read me, and I've read him, and I love him. We got to do that again, Peter. Spirit is in your room. Okay. He's usually always here. And I have to tell you, I had a really, really, really deep meditation where a few things happened today and yesterday. And I actually, this sequester is challenging for me because I have not really had a human contact with another person in many, many weeks. And I'm here with my dog. So I don't want to start. I got very watery today. But my meditations have become so deep, and I ended up being so grateful, although this is not my ideal life, and this is really not the way I would like to be. As far as my day-to-day, solitude, I have had such deep meditations that I'm grateful for the connection that it's brought me with spirit. It's almost like going to like a monastery or an abbey, and I didn't have to go because my home has become that. So that I love, but today was a challenging day for me. I had some things happen with work and stuff that I have to make some decisions, and it's always difficult to be brave enough to follow your heart, right? Not always easy. So I don't see any other comments. I'm trying to see them all. Okay, so there's my comments. Okay, I gotta see them. Alrighty, so just gotta fix this. Let me look at my comments. Where did I go? Here I am. Okay. Hi, David. May 25th is your birthday. Happy birthday. Rosemary, July 14th. So you are a Cancer, Rosemary. So the nodes are coming out of your sign of Cancer. So you're going to probably feel whatever you've been going through these last 18 months that's been a change for you. You're probably going to find that that's going to ease up a little bit. Okay. So... just looking at the comments. I'm good, Vito. It's Cool Scope. I like that. That's a great name for a podcast. Can I steal it? So I wanted to talk a little bit about each sign. I just have to look a little bit more at my notes. The amount of notes I have for these kind of things is ridiculous. Uranus has kind of been playing around with us a little bit too, which is sudden unexpected change. This is just going to be a month of a lot of shifts, but it's going to be more interior shifts than exterior. I want to talk a little bit more about that Sag-Gemini nodes, and that's going to be with us for 18 months. Remember that Gemini is information and Sagittarius is the truth. So we're all in this uncertainty now. Like I say, nobody really knows the, oh, I see spirit. Okay. Nobody really knows the whole how this is all going to play out with the economy and political and all that. The nodes shifting into Gemini and Sagittarius are going to bring in the next few months truth to us through information, through technology. So you're going to probably, I would not be surprised if something comes out, a video is leaked or an audio tape is leaked about someone, running for office, or someone, in the public eye, maybe a movie star or an athlete, and it's extremely revealing. That's the type of energy that can come with Gemini Sagittarius axis. Okay, so I just wanted to put that out there. If you are in a relationship where you don't really trust the person, the truth is going to come out in the next 18 months. So look and see where Gemini and Sagittarius are in your chart. Or if you want me to take a look at that, you can always call me for a mini reading or whatever. This is about mutation and adaptability. And when I was really doing the research about that energy for Gemini in the North Node, that mutability, Venus there in that Gemini Venus retrograde is a lot of mutation. At the end of this Venus retrograde in July, I will be very surprised if many of us don't love in a different way, or have a different type of relationship, or have changed a present relationship, because it's very mutable. It wants us to be adaptable. And then when I was thinking about that, I thought the virus, right? How synchronistic is it that when the North Node goes into Gemini, which is all about mutation and adaptability, we've got this virus that has mutated into something. So I think the shift in the nodes during this time are also going to bring about an adaptation. You're going to see the immunity rise, and that's really what my prediction for that would be. So let me go into a little bit of signs for you. There are going to be 5 planets in retrograde this month, David. I did that in the video, so if you watch. Hi, Danielle. Okay, so Mercury doesn't go retrograde until June, so we don't have to worry about that. May 15th and May 17th are power days. Just write those down. They're good days for work and money. They're also good days for recognition. So in that middle of the month, you may get recognized for something that you've been wanting to do. Also, what I wanted to say was the last time the nodes were in this particular placement was 18 years ago. So think back in your life, if you want an indication of where they actually influence your chart, what was going on 18 years ago? What was going on in your life 18 years ago, and what mimics that in your life right now? That's the best way I would say to find out what this influence is for you. I want to talk a little bit before I go into each sign about towards the end of the year. I know this has nothing to do with May, but towards the end of the year, we've got this Jupiter Saturn conjunction in Aquarius. And that's where the energy really starts to change. I think that happens December 19th, I want to say. And when that happens, the tide really changes. That's going to be, it's December 21st, 2020. That's experimental, intuitive, inquisitive, scientific, forward-moving energy. And so if we can just get through a lot of the stuff we're going to get through in the next 6 months to December, you're going to find that the energy changes like this. It's just very rapid and it's very intense. At that point in December of 2020, we have a lot of air coming in, a lot of planets in air, a lot of air signs being aspected. So we're going to see a great deal of movement and refreshment. So just keep that in mind when you're making your goals and deciding what area of life you really want to be in. Okay, so I'm going to go through the signs. For May, Taurus, this is a month where you want to focus on yourself. Taurus, this is, anyone who has a Taurus sun, this is all sun signs. So Taurus sun, you want to focus on yourself. This is a sign where it's going to be really asking you to go within, look at where you lose power and where you are powerful. Journal if you can, because you're going to start to see some patterns occur in your life of where you give your power away and really give in to people, which is very unusual for Tauruses, but you're going to see it. And where you are too demanding of having your own way. So you're going to achieve some of that balance this month if you really watch your habits and watch your where you really, how you behave, basically. So definitely journal about that. Gemini, don't be afraid to take a leap of faith. Mercury moves forward. You're very mercurial focused. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. And so this month especially, you're going to be more focused on planning to do something that you need to do for yourself. So a lot of times Gemini gets distracted and they're all over the place. You've got to go inward to find out what the roadmap is for you, authentically to you. And make a specific goal. I would write it down because Geminis do get very distracted. This is a specific goal that you want to do by the year end. So Gemini, this is really, don't be afraid to take that leap of faith, that goal you want to accomplish before the end of the year. Make a plan, do it, marry your intention with action, and get out there. Cancer, this is redrawing boundaries, getting clear. This is about what you love the most and what you need. So sometimes Cancer, you have a tendency to want something, it makes you feel good. Cancers are very much about security. So something might make you feel secure. But this month you may find yourself loving something you think makes you secure, but it's not what you need. So really look at, and when you go inward this month, look at what is it you really love, but what is it you really need? And see if you can marry those, because sometimes I think you go for the opposite. Leo, this is all about creativity in communication. Leos are very charming, right? I always say that the Leos could charm the birds out of the trees. I was married to one for a very long time. And boy, could he always get his way around me. And so Leos are creative, but this month your creativity is about your communication. Use your imagination. Leo, it's not about you being the king of the jungle. It's about imagining the best jungle that you could be in. So this month, really use your imagination when you creatively communicate. It's a great month for you if you have any kind of drawing or writing or poetry or music. That would be great for Leos to do. Virgo, growth isn't always easy. And for Virgos, you've been going through a lot of growth that's been eye-opening, but not exactly easy for you. Virgos like things to kind of be fixed. So you're going to have a few more eye-opening realizations. There are going to be dramatic shifts for you, Virgo, in May. What I would do is set an intention, almost like planting a seed in the beginning of the month and watching it grow. Be patient. Don't try to over-dramatize the changes that are taking place. Just let them flow through, because we all know growth isn't easy, especially for Virgos. But you're having some eye-openers, so try and go with them. Libra, this month you're going to be questioning yourself. Libra, go easy on yourself. A lot of times you go too far into what's out of balance and you don't allow yourself to be balanced. Break a routine. Libras, you need a little bit of an uplift. You've been really in a bit of a grind. Cut yourself some slack this month. The best use of the energy for Libras is really try and go easy on yourself and be a little more lighthearted, because I think that you Librans out there are really coming on a little strong with yourself, okay? Scorpio, this is a restorative time for you. You know, retrogrades, review, realign, reprioritize. This is about restore for you, Scorpio. You need to take some me time. It's a great time for Scorpios to meditate, to try and get in the meditation a little bit better of what they really want to do. For Scorpios, I think you need one-on-one time with yourself, and take it. You know, don't go too deep in the shadow, but Scorpio is a very contemplative sign, and you need to do it. This is really about taking me time to map out the course you want to follow. Sagittarius, well, Sagittarius, your ruler is Jupiter, and Jupiter is retrograde. So Sagittarius love a party, they love to be the life of the party, but this is a time for you to slow down. This is a time for you also to go within, for everybody this month. But these are deep shifts occurring in holding yourself accountable, and deep shifts occurring in taking actions that lead you toward the life you want. Because a lot of times Sagittarius can kind of put the blinders on and just go to the party. Sagittarius, you're all about the truth. This month for you, the truth is in here. You've got to face your truth, look at your truth. Remember what we said about Pluto and how It may bring some death and decay, but the reason for that is so you can plant a beautiful new garden. So hold yourself accountable. How your actions in your daily life are coming into play in the life you're living. We always have no one to blame but ourselves, right? So make those changes that are going to elevate you to something new. Capricorn, let go. Let it go. Capricorn, this has been a year of extreme change for you. Let it go, especially with work. You're probably reevaluating what you really want to do with your life. You may be reevaluating what really makes you happy. What are the things that make you happy? Being home these last few weeks may have made you more contemplative about how you really want to spend your time, and you're going to do more of that. So for Capricorns, I would edit my schedule and, you know, plan on how you want to spend the rest of your summer when we finally get let out of the gate, and really make your time more valuable and do more of the things that you love. I intend to spend more time with my beautiful telescope in my own backyard with a fire going. It'd be great. Aquarius, May brings you stability, which Aquarians don't always have stability. You know, they're kind of the ebb and flow of that life. Aquarians bring the water. They're an air sign. So Saturn retrograde in your sign makes you retrace your steps, but it's good because you get a second chance. Something that you were trying to do in the beginning of the year now comes back for you to actually get a second chance to score at it. So review your budgets, especially financially. Review your time schedules. Review the actions that you want to take, because this is really a second chance to make things work. Pisces, you're needed by friends and family this month, Pisces. You don't be surprised if people put a little bit of a drain on you, but if you balance yourself, that won't happen. But Pisces, you find yourself being the rescuer this month. You're going to find that people really want to hear from you. So think about how you want to serve the community. The best advice I can give Pisces is to do that. And think about when you finally do get out of the gate and more freedom in the world, how are you going to spend your time? How are people showing up that need you? What are they really asking for you? What are they requiring of you? Think about that when you're making a little bit of a plan. Aries, this is your personal revolution, ready or not. You are ready for the next chapter. You've been doing a lot of introspection about your goals and your personal initiations. Aries, you finally get rid of any baggage that you ever had. Now, Aries don't have a lot of baggage to begin with, but this month they toss it out of the plane and they are flying high. So that's the energy for the month, and I'll take questions if anybody wants to comment. I'm sorry we don't have our live phone lines on the remotes. Hopefully when we get back in the studio we will have that. I'm just going to refresh this so that I can see your... Yeah, Sandy, you have a great birthday month because you actually have so much change going on. It's going to give you a lot of energy. And for you as well, Anthony. Okay, did Vito, I'm good. Okay, I don't see any other comments, so I'm just looking again, because if I don't refresh my phone, I don't always see them. Here we are. Okay. So that's May. The other thing I was going to say about May is we don't know how all this energy is going to play out, obviously, on the world stage. So I don't know how to end this. Okay. So just go with the flow. You know, you want to have your activities not so much curtailed, but you want to make sure that you are flowing, you know, not letting other people be your authority. Because what happens is when we do that and we listen to the news and we listen to this and that, what happens is we find out that we are really letting other people govern our emotions and how we spend our time and what we're worried about. And I think in this energy it's really important for us to be our own authority and stay in our own mindset of what we want to do. Yep, don't see any other comments, so I'll wait a few minutes to see if anybody else is coming on. Okay, people are dropping off because the broadcast is probably over. Yeah, we only have like 5 more minutes anyway. So thank you all so much for tuning in. You can find me on govsradio.com every Thursday at 6:30. You can also find me on Facebook on Zenkuda. and on Instagram on Zenkuda Official. If you'd like an astrology reading of your own personal birth chart and psychic reading, please just PM me through Facebook or just reach out to me through zenkuda.com. Thank you so much, and I will see you next Thursday at 6:30. Bye, everybody.